So my wife and I recently took a 15-hour non-stop flight from Canada to India. But unlike all the other times that we've flown, this time we had someone else with us. We had to fly with this little cooing, kicking, constantly fidgeting ball of joy, our 3-month-old baby. This is our first child, so obviously we had no experience traveling with a newborn, and so we had all this anxiety about how the experience with him was going to be, about booking the flight, getting the right seats for ourselves, including bassinet for our infant, the long list of baby essentials to pack for the flight, the documents to carry, concerns about luggage, especially the baby items you're allowed as carry-ons, then picking the right baby travel gear for the journey, and the whole airport experience, from baggage check to security check to lugging around the baby throughout the airport, boarding the flight to the entire experience inside the flight. So just like any new parents, we were researching hard for ways to avoid all this preemptive anxiety about flying with the baby, to keep the baby safe and happy during the flight, at the same time maintaining our own sanity as parents. So I'm just making this video in the hopes that our experience can guide you and give you comfort in knowing that the stress of flying you are experiencing as first-time parents is unavoidable. And I have news for you. No amount of research can actually give you that peace of mind before flying that you so crave. But with a little bit of planning ahead, you can definitely avoid a lot of potential issues and alleviate a lot of your anxiety when you're flying for the first time with your newborn child. So when traveling with an infant, which most airlines consider babies under the age of 2 years as infants, when you're booking the seats, you generally have two options. Number one, you can just book another separate seat on the plane for the baby. And number two, you can go with the infant on lap option. This is where you hold the baby on your lap, or you can get a bassinet for that baby. Let's review both these options quickly. Number one is buying a separate seat for the baby. Now, obviously, this is going to be a pricier option because you're literally getting another seat on the plane for the baby. You may get the child fare or the infant fare, but that would only be 25 to 35% discount. So you'll still end up paying 60 to 70% of the adult fare if you go with this option, if you get another seat on the plane for the baby. To give you an example, we flew Air Canada. So this is their website. And if I select a one-way trip from Toronto to New Delhi, under passengers, I'll select 2 adults, obviously me and my wife, and 1 infant seat. Then if I search flights, let's go with the non-stop option and premium economy just as an example. So here's the breakdown of the price. This is the adult fare, and here is the infant fare for a separate seat. As you can see, it's about 75% of the adult fare, meaning you're pretty much paying for 3 seats with a small discount for your baby. Now, if you choose this, then you'll be required to strap the baby on its seat, usually in a restraint device, which is your baby's car seat, meaning you will board the plane with a car seat in this case. So for this option, you'll need to make sure that the car seat or whatever restraint device you're going to use throughout the flight must be approved for air travel and must adhere to all the Canadian aviation safety requirements. So usually your car seat will have a specific label that confirms these safety requirements. It's most likely going to be a sticker around your car seat that looks something like this. This sticker is the National Safety Mark in Canada, and it will have these numbers 213.1, which represent the Infant Restraint System Safety Standard. So this is the child restraint standard that you require. Most Canadian manufactured car seats have this. If your car seat is US manufactured, then you look for a label that says this restraint is certified for use in motor vehicles and aircraft, and this should be in red letters. Now the second option when booking the seats, the much cheaper option, which most parents with infants end up using, we also did that, is to have the infant on lap, meaning not booking a separate seat for the infant, just choosing the infant on lap option. So again, just as an example, this is the Air Canada website. When selecting passengers, 2 adults, me and my wife, now I'll select this option, infant on lap, not on seat. And now when I look at the price breakdown, massive difference. The cost of infant on lap is just 10% of the adult fare, as opposed to about 70% in option 1 when you chose a whole seat for the infant. Now you may wonder, for this option, where does the baby sleep then? Are they always going to be on my lap? No. And this is where we talk about bassinets. Now, when you choose this infant on lap option, for most international airlines, you can book a bassinet for the baby in the economy class. Airline bassinets are basically small beds that can be attached to the bulkhead wall of the plane in front of the passenger seat. So bulkhead seats are usually these front seats that are next to the bulkhead seat divider in airplanes. So this divider that you see between the business and economy class is the bulkhead divider. So these seats behind the divider with extra leg room are called as bulkhead seats. So for economy class, the baby bassinets are generally installed or mounted in these bulkhead dividers. For example, for Air Canada, the airline that we used to travel, they have bassinets for economy class for these front seats in the center. I don't think they have bassinets in business class for Air Canada, at least they did not when we flew. So make sure to call the airline and confirm what kind of seating arrangement or sleeping arrangement they have for the baby if you're flying business class. And these bassinets are provided by the airline, so you don't have to carry them with you. Once you book the bassinets ahead of time, when it's time to board the aircraft, the staff will provide you with the bassinet. So before buying the tickets, call the airline to make sure where the bassinets are located in the plane. Once confirmed, that's when you book the seats where the bassinet in the plane will be. Remember, the location of the bassinet on the plane is fixed, so you need to get the seats where the bassinets are in order to be able to use the bassinet. Now, airlines usually allot the bassinets on a first come, first serve basis. These are obviously in limited supply per flight, so the early baby gets the bassinet in this case. So first you book the tickets, then make the bassinet call. Once you call, you put in the request, they will put you in the queue and then you'll need to wait. The airline will usually only confirm the availability of the bassinet 48 to 72 hours before your scheduled departure. So the sooner you can make the call to put in the request for the bassinet, the higher the chances that when it comes time for departure, a bassinet will get allotted to you. So here are the items that we packed for our 15-hour flight, all as carry-ons. It looks overwhelming, I know, but well, parenting is overwhelming. And obviously you don't have to get all of these, but let me walk you through some of these anyway. It will give you perspective. And I'll also leave Amazon links down below in the description if you want to pick any of these out for yourselves. Let's pack tiny baby essentials first, starting off with baby thermometer, a diaper rash cream, very important, a vacuum snot pump or a snot sucker, either one is fine, gripe water, especially if your baby is colic, just to relieve the gas discomfort during the journey, a sterile saline mist for moistening the passage before using the snot sucker to get those beautiful boogers out, a couple of pacifiers, not just for the journey but also to be used after, and any toys to keep the baby entertained during the flight. Alright, next up is one of the most crucial items you'll pack, baby food, which is basically milk for an infant. Now, a few things to keep in mind here. Whether you're completely breastfeeding or completely doing formula or doing a mix of both, you'll need to make sure that there is enough milk for the baby for the entire travel duration. You should have milk available right when you start from home until you reach the airport, then while waiting at the airport, then for the entire flight duration, and then landing until you reach the destination and are settled in. You'll need to account for milk availability for all the hours spent in this time frame. For perspective, I'll give you an example. Now, at the time my wife was not producing enough breast milk, during travel she can get stressed out. Obviously with a 3-month-old she was sleep deprived, also suffering from baby blues, mild depression, so all these things can affect breast milk production. So that's why we took the formula approach. And so while she would continue to breastfeed the baby whenever possible, additionally, we took 18 60 ml bottles of Enfamil A formula for the whole journey. It's just the brand that our baby likes. You can go with Similac or whatever brand works for you. So you really need to be sure how often your baby feeds and how much your baby feeds so that you can pack accordingly. And if you're only breastfeeding, then you don't have to worry too much about formula. Just make sure to pump enough ahead of time so that during any stage of the travel when your baby gets hungry, you don't have to worry about privacy to breastfeed. You can just whip out a bottle and start feeding. Now, the quantity of milk to pack will primarily depend on 2 factors: your baby's appetite at their age and your travel duration. Our baby at 3 months would easily go through 90 ml every 2 hours. So that means for our baby, 45 ml milk is required every hour. So about 1080 ml or over a liter in 24 hours. So that's why we packed 18 bottles of 60 ml each, which exactly equals 1080 ml. For us, the first stage included reaching the airport, then waiting at the airport, security check, which took about 3 hours, then about 15 hours of flight time after boarding, and then another 3 hours after landing, which included immigration, baggage claim, Uber, and then reaching the hotel. So about 21 to 24 hours of entire journey, give or take. Hence 1080 ml for 24 hours. That is the math that worked for us. And by the time we reached India, did our immigration, exited the airport, reached the hotel and finally ended the journey, our boy had consumed about 900 ml of milk. So our calculations were very close. Remember, as far as milk is concerned, it's always good to pack extra than to underpack and have your baby suffer. Oh, and also good to add a small baby kit, including baby soap and brush for washing the milk bottles in case you're not carrying disposable ones. Now for diapers, we used Huggies number 3 diapers for 3-month-old babies, and the quantity will depend on how much your baby poops and pees. Our baby at 3 months would easily go through 9 to 10 diapers every 24 hours. So just to be safe, we packed 15 diapers readily accessible in the diaper bag. Also add water wipes. Obviously, you'll need to clean the baby. Now you can carry a white noise machine, which you might not really need because there's plenty of noise in the flight. But if your baby is used to sleeping with a sound machine, you can just put that sound machine in the bassinet next to the baby. Might help them sleep. And extremely important, baby Tylenol. In case baby gets a fever after the journey, which happened to our baby, and this really helped. Then wipes to clean those pacifiers, baby lotion, baby headphones in case their ears hurt during the flight, takeoff or landing. Does happen to a few babies. Oh, and by the way, make sure to check on the baby in between all this packing. As long as they're smiling, kicking, all good, then you can come back to packing. So this is an e-tronic duffel bag, very sturdy and handy for travel to carry all the baby stuff in. This is where we put all the hygiene stuff. I'll link it below in the description. Now these are pee pads that you can get super cheap from Dollarama for when your baby has to poop or pee in flight. You simply spread them on the tray table and put the baby on them. I'll show you how useful these are when we get to the flight section. Then packing the formula bottles, add in a few extra onesies in case of blowouts, throw-ups or diaper leaks. Be sure to pack a couple of burp clothes, extra blanket for the baby, the air conditioning can get really chilly in flight, and some more toys to keep the baby entertained. Now to pack diapers and some additional milk bottles, we use this Lululemon bag. It's also very sturdy and very handy. These bags are all carry-ons, by the way, so you're allowed to carry all this infant stuff that I showed you as carry-ons in these bags inside the flight, so don't worry about the weight. Oh, and please, passports for the baby, mom and dad, don't forget that, and any visas that you may require should be all ready. And that is all the baby stuff we packed. It's gotta feel like an achievement once you're done. Now, once packed up, our boy used his pre-requested dedicated time to clean up all his passageways of any remaining gases, liquids, some more gases, then solids. And then some more gases.
All done.
We were so lucky to have to hear these magical sounds just before we were to embark upon a 15-hour journey. May sound gross to others, but to the ears of new parents, this is the sound of music. And so with that signal from our little general that he's ready, we began our journey. Now most likely you already have a car seat and stroller for the baby. You'll need the car seat to get to the airport, so make sure that your car seat has that safety mark which I showed you earlier in the video. And a stroller will also be highly beneficial for you to carry the baby around throughout the airport. So you absolutely can carry a car seat and stroller internationally. You can travel with that. You can put those in the flight with no additional cost. Now, if you don't have a car seat and stroller, or the ones that you have are pretty huge and you're looking for a compact alternative to travel internationally, then I would love to recommend what we use for our baby. So we got this single piece car seat stroller from Evenflow. It's called the Shift Dual Ride Car Seat Stroller. Basically has a base with wheels that works as a stroller and a car seat attached to it. So this is from their website. I'll link it below. By the way, this is not a sponsored video from Evenflow. I'm not getting paid any commission from them. I just really love how amazing this product is, especially for infants. So this car seat stroller combo comes in multiple variations. We got this pricier model with carry-all storage bag and the extended canopy bundle for sun protection, but the basic model works just fine. And as you can see how easily you can snap the car seat into a stroller to carry the baby around, and instantly by press of a button you can bring it back to the car seat arrangement. No need to carry a big car seat and stroller separately. This compact arrangement makes it so much easier to manage as a single piece. It's sturdy, well built, feels premium right from the get-go, and I can say from personal experience it is super comfy for a baby from the newborn age up to at least 10 months old. And our 3-month-old baby absolutely adores it. Not only did we use it as a car seat in the airport to walk around, but it was so versatile that it became our baby's daily driver and still is when our baby is 8 months old. Now if you get this brand new with all the extended features, it will set you back 700 Canadian. But you can easily get this used from Facebook Marketplace for about 400 to 500 Canadian. And it's completely normal to get a used car seat stroller instead of a brand new one. But used or new, I cannot recommend this compact combination enough. So go check it out at Babies R Us or wherever you can and give it a try. I guarantee you'll like it for your baby. But you can also look at other brands such as Ergo Baby, Graco or Maxi Cozy. These are some reputed brands with some really great options. Now, not every brand will have a mini stroller attached to the car seat that we had from Evenflow, but you can still find some very compact and super convenient alternatives from these brands depending upon availability and your budget. So now with everything packed, we were ready to leave. Yes, you will be traveling with a lot of stuff. It's just unavoidable. So this is where your inventory management skills can really shine. So when you reach the airport, you can definitely use the stroller to carry the baby around. Now for luggage check-in, look for a family check-in line or just ask an attendant to help you join the family check-in line for checking in your bags. Because you're traveling with an infant, they will speed up the process for you and get the bags checked in quicker. Now as far as luggage check-in is concerned, you'll obviously be checking in the big suitcases. But for the car seat and stroller, you have two options. Option 1 is you can check in the car seat and stroller right where you check in your big bags. In that case, you'll have to carry your baby throughout security check-in and continue to carry them until you board the flight. But option 2, and this is what I would recommend, is to only check in your big bags at the luggage check-in and continue to carry the car seat and stroller with you. You can get through security check with the car seat and stroller, no problem. And just before you board the plane, at the boarding gate, you will have the option of checking in your car seat and stroller. This is also known as gate check. I'll show you in a second. But I would also highly recommend to carry the child's birth certificate with you. A birth certificate of the child that has parents' details listed in it. And the reason I mentioned that is because airline staff can ask you to produce a proof of parentage. They don't often do that, but if you're traveling with a baby, airline staff can randomly pick up passengers and they might ask you to produce birth certificate for the child. So safe option to carry the birth certificate of the child as well. Now people have all this anxiety about what they can carry through airport security. How many milk or formula bottles can they carry? So as I showed you before, all this stuff that we packed as carry-ons, we were able to get this through airport security check, no questions asked. The standard 3 or 4 ounce liquid requirement per adult that you might be aware of does not apply when you're traveling with a baby. So you can take milk bottles, formula bottles, any medications, drops or syrups that your baby might require. All of that can go through airport security check. And obviously your car seat and stroller can also go through that. Now when your baby items are going through the security check scan, they might stop you and pull you aside just to check those items with you, and they might swap those items, and this is completely normal, but they won't stop you from taking all these baby carry-ons in the aircraft with you. Now if you're traveling with a baby, you'll obviously get to board first. So when you arrive at the line for boarding at the airport, usually they'll give a boarding call first for families with a baby. But even if you miss the announcement amidst all that commotion and by the time you reach the boarding zone, a big line is already formed, don't just join the end of the queue. Make sure to look for a staff member and ask for assistance with family boarding. Once they see you have a baby, they will direct you to priority boarding. So take advantage of the family boarding benefits, please. Now when you're boarding, as you walk toward the plane, just before entering the plane, you'll get to a small section on the side which is known as the gate check section. It's a small space, usually on the side just before you board the aircraft, with a staff member usually present. This is where you pack and submit your car seat stroller and check it. Now this is embarrassing. You see me struggling to fold the car seat stroller and collapse it to close it. That's why I highly recommend, before you leave your house, practice opening and collapsing the car seat stroller multiple times just so you don't panic at the airport before boarding your plane. Believe me, it happens. Also, remove any battery or electronics attached to the car seat or stroller. They might not allow it. After folding it, you can put the combo in a large stroller bag and set it aside for the staff member to pick up and load into the plane. Make sure you get these gate check stroller bags to pack your car seat stroller in. Very easy to find on Amazon. They cost you about 30 Canadian and they're pretty huge. I'll leave an Amazon link below for the one that we got. Once your flight lands at your destination, as you're exiting the aircraft, a staff member will bring your car seat and stroller back so you can collect it from there. And that's it. It was time to board the plane with this little one. Believe me, it's a huge relief once you're done with all the security and gate check stuff. You did good so far. Pat on the back. So for takeoff, we put these headphones on our boy to cushion his ears from the intense variation in pressure and gave him his pacifier to suck on. Baby's ears are very sensitive to high pressure, so sucking on a pacifier can really help balance it. By the time we took off, he just went to sleep on mama's chest. finally off the road. 15 more hours to go. Now when you get seated, during takeoff, you will need to hold the baby on your lap, even if you book the bassinet. You don't get the bassinet right away. Only when the plane is at a certain altitude and the seatbelt sign is switched off is when air stewards will come in and install the bassinet for you. They'll mount it in this bulkhead wall in front of you. This is where the bassinet goes. Just know that whenever the seatbelt sign is switched on due to turbulence or during landing, you will need to take the baby off the bassinet and hold on to them on your lap. Once the bassinet was installed and the flight was stable, we put the baby in it. And after several hectic minutes, once he was asleep, we finally got to have a little moment for ourselves. Now in flight, if you have to change your baby's diaper, you can do it in the seat in their bassinet as long as you can maintain the aroma and the ambience around the baby so that other passengers don't get affected. But if you have a baby, you probably already know how often babies can pee or soil themselves as you are changing their diapers. And if that projectile ends up landing on somebody else's food, then you're going to have a lovely conversation. So you can do it right, the harder way, but the better way, which is to avoid all this and take the baby to the restroom and change it there. So in the restroom, you can look for this changing station. You pull down the tray table, spread out the changing pad on the tray table, get the wipes ready, lay your baby on it and take care of business. Partnership between you and your spouse is key here. Don't just put it all on one. Team up and you'll do it quicker and better. And it's allowed for mom and dad and baby all three to be in a small cramped restroom because they have to change the baby. It's also okay if the baby gets a little fussy during changing. It's a pretty weird, cold and unwelcoming environment for them. So it's okay if they are fussy, but the baby should never be left with a dirty diaper for long. Oh, and almost forgot to mention, we got this baby harness that was incredibly useful when putting our baby to sleep in flight. And also it's a great device to help you carry the baby around hands-free. I'll leave the Amazon link below to the harness that we got. Now, even with the bassinet, harness and the million items that you may pack, you must remember that you are traveling with an infant. And an infant is unpredictable. It's a baby after all. So you need to be prepared to still hold them, soothe them, rock them, do whatever it takes to get them to be okay. Every baby is different, so what worked for us might not work for you. So trial and error and repeat, and above all, be kind to yourself. There are no right or wrong methods as long as you do what's right for the baby. Now there's also a fear attached to flying for the first time with a newborn. What will other passengers think if my baby is inconsolable? So I have news for you. 90% of the time people are nice around you, and air stewards are also very helpful, especially when you have a baby. But despite your best efforts, you need to know that your baby will have a blowout, they will spit up, and they will get fussy and at times inconsolable. And when that happens, the best thing you can do is to do your best to calm and soothe the baby and be kind to the baby and to your partner and yourself. Now, if your baby is very noisy or cries a lot and creates a ruckus, yes, you may get some weird looks from nearby passengers at times, and rarely some nasty comments from some over-entitled passengers who might not get to enjoy their movie or might not get to enjoy their whiskey, or their sleep might be disturbed. But none of that matters, because you need to remember this, that no one is suffering more than you, the parents. You're already exhausted and sleep deprived. You will be sleep deprived throughout the flight. And once you land, get this, you'll be sleep deprived again because you still have a baby to take care. So no one gets to complain more than the parents. So let the other passengers sulk in their unempathetic filth if they have to. You do you, you take care of the baby and yourself and your partner, and you be kind to yourself and your partner. Don't worry about what other people will think. So I'd like to close with this. There should be no shame attached to flying with a baby. It should be treated as a challenge, and then once you overcome that challenge, you should celebrate that. So with that said, take care of yourself, have a wonderful flight with your ball of joy. I'll see you in the next one.